in the heart of America, amidst the waves of wheat swaying in the wind, where the land is golden and the sky knows no boundaries. A bitter truth lies hidden. Kansas, the land of abundance, the breadbasket of America, today reeks of poverty and pain. While farms feed millions, there are men rummaging through dumpsters for food, and women spending their nights with heroin to escape the cold of asphalt. In a city that should symbolize hope, the lights of shelters are extinguished, and trembling hands knock on locked doors. Today's Kansas is a paradox, a land of plenty, yet a sanctuary for the homeless. Why do the people living in the heart of wheat die of hunger for meaning? This story is not just about drugs. It is about the gradual decline of humanity within a system that promises salvation, but in practice, abandons them. In Kansas, amidst the sound of tractors and the scent of rain on soil, there are lives that have remained hidden from sight. Men who once worked this very land now sleep on it, beneath bridges and in shadows. Women who once smiled in stores are now searching in alleys for something to alleviate their pain. And this something is often heroin. At first glance, one might ask, how is it possible for people to remain hungry in a place where food and land are abundant? But hunger here is of a different kind. Hunger for presence, hunger to be heard, hunger for belonging. When someone has no place within the system, even bread loses its flavor. The homeless in Kansas often come from poor farming families or manual laborers. When agriculture became industrialized and small farms disappeared, their lives were swept away as well. The government made promises, but no one took action for them. One person said, "This city has no place for me." And from that moment on, nothing was the same. They lost their home, then their family, and eventually themselves. The streets of Kansas turn into a cold hell at night. Shelters are full, and hospitals lack capacity for addiction treatment. People turn to drugs because they have no other refuge. For many, heroin represents a moment of escape, a temporary breath amidst a wall of cruelty and forgetfulness. Psychologically, drugs in the homeless serve not only as an addiction, but also as a defense mechanism. When reality becomes unbearable, the mind seeks a way to silence the dark room within. In Kansas, heroin plays that key role, a key that turns and erases pain for a few hours until it returns, stronger, heavier, and more ruthless. However, the roots of this reality run deeper than a needle. This crisis is a combination of poverty, social isolation, the decline of welfare services, and structural inequality. When governments generate wealth, yet forget about humanity, the result is that Kansas, with all its golden wheat, transforms into a land of suffering, The streets of Wichita and Topeka are filled with whispers at night. Whispers from people asking themselves, am I still part of this country? Do I still deserve salvation? Amidst the darkness, charity workers and volunteer organizations strive to help. They cook hot soup, deliver blankets, but the flood of pain is greater than their small hands can bear. Every day, more individuals turn to drugs to forget that they have been forgotten. On a social level, Kansas symbolizes an American paradox, a country with endless resources, yet policies that have left individuals homeless. Wealth flows on the farms, but poverty does not evaporate from the streets. Cities have developed, but humanity has become smaller within them. One person who was spoken to said, "I didn't die of hunger. I died of people's indifference." This statement may sum up everything this narrative aims to convey. Why do homeless individuals in Kansas turn to drugs? Because there is no refuge left for them. Not in the economic system, not in the minds of society, and not even in our hearts. When a person loses their place, the first thing they lose is hope. And after hope, the only thing that remains is the retreat into forgetfulness. In the real-life cinema of Kansas, there are two contrasting lights: the golden light of the fields and the dark shadows of the streets. Standing between these two is humanity, tired, cold, and lost. And no one tells them, you still matter. If you've watched this video and your heart trembled for a moment, don't turn it off. Let the image of that man sleeping under the bridge linger in our minds. Because he is not just a face. He is a reflection of a society that has chosen forgetfulness. Let's talk about it, not for pity, but for awareness. Share it, comment, amplify the voices of these individuals. Change always begins with knowing, and knowing starts with paying attention. Kansas is not just a state. It is a symbol of a world that needs to awaken. No one should have to turn to a needle in search of hope.